Parker.
Here.
Richard Sharp.
Here.
Julie Rivera.
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
And President Jill Murr.
President. President.
David
Hey,
Osterhaber.
John, can we honor the flag?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's please stand and honor the flag in a moment of silence, please. And I'd like everybody to keep Paul Zimmerman in their hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Randy. Before we go into public comment, I would like to add, under plan, a PUD for Rose Garden Estates to the agenda. Call that item number 4. Under ordinances and resolutions, I would like to add item number 5, salary ordinance amendment preparation. And under new business, like to add item 6, moto on ice discussion. Thank you very much.
How's it going, fellas?
Do we have any public comment for agenda items only, please? Agenda items only. Going once, twice, looks like no hands are up for agenda items only. We'll move into the consent agenda. Item number 1, minutes of the October 15th, 2019 meeting. Claims, all town funds, $379,341.11. Wastewater operating, $214,071.16. Water utility, $55,572.70. Stormwater, $33,389.40. 2017 A, B, and C construction, $18,003.10. And payroll, October 17th through October 31st, as well as November 1st and November 14th, $588,966.98. Item 3, manual journal entries from October 1 through the 31st, 2019. Donations of trunk or treat for 2019. And a request by St. John Evangelist for the St. John Festival, July 9 through 12, 2020. And Oktoberfest, September 25 through 27, 2020. As well as the Cedar Lake Historical Association request for December 1st and December 8th as a backup. Do we have a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Motion by Randy Niemeyer,
I'll second.
second by Julie. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
No.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Moving into the plan, offshore estates, letter of credit. Okay, to page 5. Jill, did you want to give us an update on
Council,
this?
this is the acknowledgement and acceptance of the offshore estates letter of credit. This has been reviewed by staff, plan commission, town attorney, and engineer with an updated engineer letter of October 18th, 2019, which was
Okay.
reviewed at the plan commission level. It's the recommendation that you acknowledge and accept this letter of credit.
Very good, thank you. Do we have a motion for the offshore estates letter of credit, please?
So moved.
Motion by Rick Sharp,
Second.
second by Ralph Miller. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ledgestone letter of credit, Jill, please.
Council, again, this is the letter of credit for Ledgestone. This was a reduction to 25%. This was approved at the Plan Commission on October 16, 2019. The current letter of credit had an expiration date of November 15th, Plan Commission has checked off on this as well as staff, engineer, and town attorney. There's recommendation by staff to acknowledge and accept this letter of credit.
Thank you. Do we have any motion to accept the Ledgestone letter of credit?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion by Randy Niemeyer, second by Greg Parker. Greg, roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 3, Rose Garden Estates Letter of Credit Ratification.
Council, at your previous meeting in October, you had approved the letter of credit for Rose Gardens, pending final format, reviewed by town attorney, plan commission, staff, and engineer. This is the ratification of that letter of credit and acceptance. The amount was the same as you approved at your October meeting.
Okay.
And the town attorney may have a comment on that one.
Mr. Oster, anything?
After the Plan Commission identified the amount of the letter of credit surety required for a final plat approval in overnight mail the next day, the town received that. It's $6,047,000 plus or minus a couple pennies. And-
$6,067,000.
Or 67, thank you. So this was a condition for final plat. Final plat was approved.
Okay.
If Final plat requires one more signature for processing recordation, and tomorrow night we'll address that with the Plan Commission.
Very good. Anyone else have any comments in regards to that letter of credit? Okay, I would entertain a motion now.
So moved.
We have a motion by Rick Sharp,
I'll second.
and we have a second by Julie Rivera. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
John Foreman?
No. Motion carries 6-1. The item that we just recently added to the plan section is the PUD for Rose Garden. Has to do with the plan unit development contract for Rose Garden Estates PUD. Jill and/or Mr. Austin, if either one of you would like to give us an explanation, I would appreciate that.
I have, this is a condition of the town's zoning ordinance for a PUD approval. A PUD or planned unit development contract is required. We have been working against this throughout this entire year of approval activity at the Plan Commission. The developer has completed and executed the agreement or contract that is here. We do need to make one small change in the key numbers so that those match the key numbers at the county. But for that, this is ready to go and receive your approval, signature, execution, and inclusion in the package. Please remember, this is exactly the process we followed with the Old Toft PUD on 125th and Route 41 area, and on the Schilling PUD on 129th. So these pieces come together, the entirety will be a recorded package or a recorded package of documentation for this project. And it
Okay.
will be the footprint, if you will, for the project's construction.
This was approved by the Plan Commission.
It was.
Do you know the key number that needs to be changed
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was gonna ask.
for the record?
I believe it should be, the last three numbers should be 014, not 013.
Correct.
Of the 1, 2, 3, 4 items, the fourth item down.
There are four general key numbers for
Okay.
the entirety. This started out as a 100-acre farm
Okay.
and is now with plat, a whole bunch of lots and roads and detention
You
basins
bet.
and facilities.
Okay, thank you. Jill, did you want to add anything or no?
No.
Okay. I would entertain a motion at this point in time for PUD for the Rose Garden.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the planned unit development contract for Rose Garden Estates
With the contingency of the tax
With-
ID
with-
number 14.
with the record reflecting the tax key number changed to 014 instead of 013.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Randy Niemeyer, second by Greg Parker. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Rick Sharp?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
John Foreman?
No. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Item ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance number 1345, Summer Winds Commercial Rezone, lot number 6. Julie, if you could please read that, we'd appreciate that.
Ordinance number 1345, an ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, for zoning purposes and amending town ordinance number 496, being an ordinance replacing zoning ordinance number 278 entitled Cedar Lake, Indiana zoning ordinance, passed and adopted by the Board of Trustees of the town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto, repealing zoning ordinance number 278, all amendments thereto, and all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, establishing new comprehensive zoning regulations for the town of Cedar Lake, and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof in accordance with the provisions of the Indiana state statutes, passed by the town council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, the 13th day of December, 1989, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Thank you. We've heard the ordinance. Do we have a motion for ordinance number 1345, Summer Winds Commercial Rezone, lot 6?
Mr. President, before the motion, could I get a
bet.
summary of this by
You bet.
legal or the administrator?
David, would you please give us a summary?
This is a parcel that was not included in the original development proposal to the town for the commercial component, and the developer determined that it needed to be connected and approved for the zoning that was consistent with the adjacent zoning, and that's what this is. It's putting pieces together.
And it's the property on 133rd,
It is. That's where the summer
adjacent to
winds-
the Summer Winds residential.
Correct.
Within this ordinance, it states here, Airport Heights, all L.6, need good legal. What's that, is there a legal description?
We now have the good legal.
Okay,
That is the legal that you would find if you were looking for the tax bill at
Okay.
the auditor, and we requested a complete legal, which is in the execution copy.
thank you.
Council, on page 20 of your
Okay.
packet is the certification from the Plan Commission with their favorable recommendation, approved by a vote of 7 in favor and 0 against. The legal description is in there. The final document that you will have for signature on the ordinance was updated by David's office and is in the signature packet for you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
upon your approval.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Is this a one reading or two reading?
One reading.
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance number 1345.
I'll second.
Adopt, I'm sorry.
We have a motion to adopt by Randy Niemeyer. We have a second.
I know better.
Julie, second still to adopt?
Yes.
Second by Julie Rivera. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Moving on, Resolution 1247, 2020 Summerfest. It was deferred from 10/15/19.
Resolution number 1247, a resolution establishing the basis upon which the town of Cedar Lake shall participate in the Y 2020 Cedar Lake Summerfest event and all matters related thereto.
Very good. Do we have anybody from Summerfest that wants to say anything? Is it necessary, or does anyone? No? Jill, do you have anything that you want to?
No,
Bring up?
this item had been deferred pending any statement or changes from Summerfest.
Okay.
The dates for the proposed event and use of the grounds was June 26, 2020 through July 10th, 2020. As we look forward, use of the grounds, them getting kind of in and out of the event would kind of cross if we continue with the farmer's market, which I anticipate having a proposal for you at an upcoming meeting. So that Wednesday would be the only day we might have some crossover.
So the 10th is what, Thursday?
It's a Friday.
Friday?
And then with fireworks being July 2nd and July 3rd.
Uh-huh. So Jill, are you saying you want them then to clear the area first and foremost where the farmer's market is,
Or
or?
an agreement where we can work around what they may have.
Okay,
You know, it was discussed that there could be a tent or something left,
okay.
so, as we work through those schedules.
Any other comments, or does any council member have any questions? If not, do we have a motion for Resolution 1247, 2020 Summerfest?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. Ralph,
Yes.
do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second by Randy Niemeyer. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. You guys are good to go for 2020. Resolution 1248, confirming transfer resolution. Julie, if you could read that, please.
You know what? I don't know if that
I don't
was
think it's in the
our
packet. I didn't see it in there, Julie, so let me find it.
No,
You
go
know,
ahead.
there you go.
Confirming Resolution 1248, a resolution confirming the authorization of appropriation transfers by the clerk treasurer for the following funds during budget year 2019.
Would you like me to
Keep going.
explain, Mr.
Please,
President?
Jen, if you would.
So, we had to do a few transfers within some funds, so general fund, we had a total of $8,350. We transferred between council's budget for some office supplies and miscellaneous supplies. Police department, we needed to move, approximately $2,000 for miscellaneous supplies. Planning, zoning, and building department, we needed to move a little around to cover, some attorney and engineering bills, and park maintenance for some operating and parts. Motor vehicle highway, we moved around 4,500, for vehicle maintenance and fuel. Local roads and streets, we moved a total of 10,000, for road salt. Redevelopment general needed, $2,790 moved around for travel expenses and some minor printing. And the leaf fund, we moved $1,100, into the equipment fund for some, ammunition purchase that was needed, end of the year, so it's basically cleanup of the line items.
Okay.
We're running low.
Very good, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions regarding that? If not, I would ask for a motion, please. In favor or against?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Bob Carnahan to approve Resolution 1248,
I'll second.
and we have a second by Julie. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Resolution number 1249, repeal and rescind resolution number 1174. Julie, if you could read that, please.
Resolution number 1249, a resolution repealing and rescinding town resolution number 1174, providing for temporary loan of funds from the town wastewater treatment plant, WWTP, special fund for the town year 2016 road improvement project and all matters related thereto.
Okay,
I'd like Dave or Jill or somebody to.
we can do that?
What this is
I can.
about.
Mr. Austin, please.
This is a bookkeeping resolution. It's a catch-up to year-end 2016, when you had anticipated the need to borrow funds from your wastewater utility for your road projects. The road projects turned out not to need funds borrowed, but participated or contributed from the wastewater utility for wastewater utility components of those projects. So they were actually expenditures from wastewater, not loan borrowings. And the State Board of Accounts has requested clarification of that, hence this resolution to clean the books. This was done under the predecessor to Jennifer,
Correct.
and it's a year-end kind of fix, if you will.
Very good. That was this letter that you had given us, correct?
No.
Okay, that was something different.
That's something.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with
Sorry,
any,
no,
que-
was the second
Yeah, the second, internal controls for temporary loan.
Woo, losing my mind today.
Okay, thank you. I thought it sounded familiar, so thank you. Okay, anybody else? If not, we would
So moved.
ask for a motion.
So moved, approve resolution number 1249.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have a second to Bob's
Second.
motion?
Second.
Was that Rick?
Second.
Thank you, Rick. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randy Neimeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries. 7-0. The new item that we added under ordinances and resolutions is a salary ordinance amendment preparation. Jill?
Council, looking into our custodial services at Town Hall, it was noticed that the part-time town custodian is not in the current salary ordinance. Our previous contract employee will be leaving us this week,
Okay.
and we would like to hire, hopefully from within, and we need to add that position back into the salary ordinance.
Okay.
It's staff's recommendation for you to direct the town administrator and town attorney to prepare that ordinance and have for you at your December 3rd meeting.
Okay. With that being stated by Jill, does anyone want to make a motion to give approval to have the town attorney draft this?
So
Ordinance.
moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Randy and a second by Ralph, it sounded like. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randy Neimeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. And moving on into new business, 2020 boards and commissions.
If I may.
Jill, please.
Council, this is your draft press release for your 2020 board and commissions advertisement.
Okay.
The redevelopment commission will have 5 vacancies, plan commission 1 vacancy, police commission 1 vacancy, and stormwater board 1 vacancy. It's our recommendation to advertise this and accept the applications with an application deadline of December 12th.
Maybe,
Also-
maybe indicate what the party affiliations are, so
I could. Redevelopment commission has no affiliation. Plan commission would need to be a Democrat. Police commission, a Republican, and stormwater board could be either.
thank you.
Okay.
Included in your packet also is a listing of current board members and showing the expirations of those for your reference.
Very good, thanks. Do we have a motion for the document for the public notice press release for the 2020 boards and commissions?
So moved.
We have a motion by Julie,
Second.
second by Ralph. Roll call, please, Jen.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randy Neimeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. The next item, Midwest Training and Ice Center Open Gym Contract. Jill, please.
Council, this is actually a fundraiser opportunity for the town. On Saturday, December 7th, the town of Cedar Lake would like to partner with Midwest Training to hold an open gym event from 4 to 6 p.m. If we have more than 50 participants, there will be a 50-50 split between the town of Cedar Lake and Midwest Ice. The cost of the event is $10 per child. Any proceeds from this event, provided we meet 50 participants or more, will be put into the Parks Non-Reverting Fund to support the town's soccer program. As you know, we already partner with Midwest Ice to offer some programmings where they waive the fees of membership, so to say, to our residents who register through us.
That's in St. John.
That is in St. John.
And you'll be putting this in the monthly newsletter next month?
Yes, it will,
Good idea.
upon your approval. And Brandon, who's running your soccer program, will be at the event coordinating that.
Excellent. Do we have a motion to, in favor or against?
So moved to do it.
Motion by Ralph to approve,
Second.
second by Rick Sharp. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randy Neimeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Agreement for elimination of sewer utility billing. The address is 8514 West 131st Lane. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but Jill, go ahead and give us a rundown.
This is a house that had been, had a demo permit back in 2017. They have decided not to rebuild and have kept the sewer. It has been inspected and checked off. This is the agreement for the elimination.
Very
One
good.
of the things, and in the future, we are going to update this, and these items will move over to the utility board, but the documents that we are using were prepared by the attorney,
Got it,
and we need the attorney to update them.
got it. Any questions, anyone?
Make a motion to approve agreement for elimination sewer utility building at 8514 West 131st Lane.
Second,
Motion approved by Randy, second by Bob. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Don Foreman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 4, Jill, new Focus HR agreement, if you could please give us a rundown on that.
This synopsis is, New Focus HR has provided a proposal to update and, revamp, bring our personnel policy up to date. The cost in that is for $4,800 for our employee handbook. Additionally, with that, we can pay for an annual subscription fee, which would include updates annually to the employee handbook as needed. Any state, federal, state, or county personnel policy manuals that need, or personnel policy issues that need to be updated in the policy for $125 per year. They also provide outsourced HR consulting services, should we need them, for $150 per hour. And project 4 of the proposal is for anti-harassment and discrimination training, which would be for managers as well as employees, and that would be $2,800 for the 2 sessions.
Okay?
I have a question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Floor is yours.
Is this proposal, could it be à la carte?
It could be. There are some à la carte items that could be added to or taken away.
Because what I'm thinking is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Austin, that you have done your staff and you have consulted and done an update of the personnel policy manual that's ready?
It is.
I just don't know why we would pay $4,800 to them for a new handbook.
Seems a
Now, I
little
think
steep.
it'd be useful to review. But if we're gonna pay twice for something, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The rest of it, to me, looks really good. I think it's something that we've needed here for quite a while, especially with the changing tone and tenor of employment law. And I know personally, I have to keep up on it every year. I get a crash course, so,
One of the additional services they offer is such as coming in and reviewing our personnel files to make sure they meet all of the guidelines that are out there on what is private, what can be reviewed, how things should be maintained. Those are other à la carte services they offer. They are an AIM member as well and have been.
yeah, I remember talking to them at the AIM conference. And I think in light of what Dave just shared, that there is a complete document, maybe there's something that they could just do in review of that document to make sure that all of those best standards and practices are in place from a municipal standpoint, to where they're not writing the document, but reviewing it. So a second set of eyes on it. I think that would be a fair.
So is that something you want to make in the form of a motion, or is that
Well,
something you would like to?
it's not included
table this
in-
item for now,
It's
or-
not included in their proposal here, but, I mean, project, the number 2, number 3, number 4, I think it's kind of a no-brainer to go with
The best.
for the training, for the consulting services,
You bet.
and for the annual subscription. But the employee handbook part of it is where I'm saying that maybe we need to talk to them about.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'd be willing to make a motion to approve 2, 3, and 4, but then we still have to work on num's 1.
So does it make more sense to have this meeting first with them and then, is
It might,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we need to act on it tonight, do we?
there a deadline?
No, not necessarily.
So I'd like to make a motion to defer this then, unless any other council members have a different direction they wanna go, but my motion is to defer to the next meeting, so we can review project number 1, the employee handbook, to look at what they would do in a review sense to review the work that Dave's firm did already, just as a second set of eyes on things.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second
Mr. President,
by Bob. Yes, sir, Mr. Usher.
I'm gonna provide that to you. There's not gonna be any cost. Our work product is done.
Okay,
I've been working on this for a while elsewhere and elsewise, so wanted you to know that.
So there'll be no cost
Very
to the
good.
town for that product?
No.
Okay, thank you.
is that something, Jill, that you could email to them so that they could review it, take a look? I just don't want this to linger. I think it's important. We need to keep moving on it, so
Yeah, we,
if you
can
could,
reach out to her
within the next 2
tomorrow
weeks, make something happen, that'd be great. So we have a motion to defer by Randy and a second by Bob. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes,
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer,
yes,
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion to defer, passes 7-0. Thank you.
John,
Yes.
I'm hoping you do not all expect this tomorrow.
No, that's
No.
fine.
I do have to go through the document now and make it Cedar Lake.
not tomorrow, yesterday, Dave. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Randy, I forgot.
Understood, just communicate with Jill. If we can make the next meeting, great. I just want to keep it at the forefront, that's all.
Keep it moving.
Keep it on
the
I
table.
agree- I agree with that.
On that note, we do only have limited days between now and the next meeting
That's
with the holiday.
We all work holidays, Jill.
I know, I'm just saying, some of us shop on Thanksgiving.
That's what makes life fun.
Some of us shop on Thanksgiving.
Item 5, change order number 6, South Shore subdivision improvements. Jill, please.
Council, this is the closing change order to the South Shore subdivision improvement project. It's a balancing change order for the final project closeout. It was drafted and prepared by Don at Christopher Burke. It is a
Okay.
negative change order, negative $18,320.13.
Nice.
Therefore, the project came in $18,000 lower than it was bid at.
Very good.
make a motion to approve the change order.
I'll second.
Change order by Bob, second by Greg. Any questions? Comments? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes,
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes,
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. The last item under change order number 6 was the Moto on Ice. I believe last year, Moto on Ice got all their permits, did everything they did, utilizing a separate ambulance service outside of the town of Cedar Lakes. This year, they've been in discussions with Chief Todd Wilkening, who's present. Do we have some Moto on Ice guys here? Okay, excellent. If one of you want to come to the podium, in case there's any questions, that would be super. And make a long story short, they talked with Chief Wilkening. Chief Wilkening's working on utilizing the third ambulance that the town of Cedar Lake owns to be parked there with Chief Todd, 2 paramedics in it.
2 to 3 staff members per Sunday, depending on the weather conditions.
And what they're asking, Chief, at a cost, you're gonna be able to do it at how much per Sunday?
Just for the personnel, we could do it under $500
Okay,
per Sunday, if that's what council would like.
so can we just call it $500, Moto on Ice? Are you okay with that?
500 sounds very good.
Okay. So that's essentially it. It's still their event. We, in our discussion that I had with Chief Todd, we felt that having a town ambulance there, in the event something drastic did happen, they have quicker communication to the regular fire station.
well, they'd have to respond anyways.
And they'd have to respond anyway, so that was the.
Makes sense.
The motive behind it,
Makes total sense. Yep.
so.
I'd like to point out that these guys put on a phenomenal event every year. And, they bring a lot of, people, tourism to the town.
Yes,
And 100% of what they do, they give back to some sort
that's right,
of,
we are a nonprofit, and 100% of our surplus goes right back into the community. Boys and Girls Club, Hanover Boosters, Low Boosters, everything is donated right back into the community.
Have you figured out how to create ice yet?
I wish we could.
Yeah.
I wish we
That's,
could.
that's
Because last
very
couple
good.
winters, it's been
It
spotty.
has been rough on
Yeah.
us, yeah. And we keep trucking along, but yeah, it's been rough on us last couple winters.
A few winters ago, when we had 20-some odd days below zero, was pretty good.
That's right, we
Yeah.
got 13 races in that year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Well, if this year's anything like last, it might be okay, right?
That's
So,
right, well, we're hoping for some cold.
that's right.
Josh Gilbert reached out to me this afternoon.
I won't
He
hold that
wanted to be
against you,
here.
by the way.
His daughter had a basketball game tonight, so he had to go attend that, but he wanted to be here to speak up as well.
Okay. No, I think the sport of motorcycling in general, just real quick, I'll add that my son gets the monthly AMA magazine, and I tend to read it since he's not around. And this past month, there was a nice article about urban dirt biking.
Right.
In Baltimore, there's a lot of guys that are in urban settings riding dirt bikes, and everybody thinks they're crazy and outlaws and this, that, and another. So they're trying to build a program
Sure.
to teach and
Well,
utilize old lots and
That's exactly what the
train,
program's
so that's
there
good.
for. I mean,
Yeah.
I was speaking with Chief Wilkie last night, just briefly, I'll touch on it. I mean, we've had kids start on the mini cycles and are now racing at the national level.
that's right.
You know, and they're from here, they're local kids that just started racing on the ice and worked their way up through the ranks. I mean, here's two youngsters right here that belong to the club. They're a Follies Club member. They race with us every season, last couple seasons, so.
Yep.
I mean, it gives the kids something to do other than sit at the house and it's an organized event, like Craig said, so.
And it's AMA
It
sanctioned,
is
so
a
we
consent,
appreciate,
correct, yeah,
we
so
appreciate that.
They have to go through, everybody needs to go through the proper channels.
Chief
in order
has something to tell.
race up
I
the
mean,
event.
Chief Fogarty?
Just to let you know, as far as incidents concerned, these guys have a pretty good record. I mean, there's only usually about maybe one injury a year. And
Don't jinx us.
Nothing too serious.
Yeah.
I just want you,
That's
I
good.
just want people to know
Oh.
that they do a very good job saving lives.
The curse is here.
This event is always successful and nobody gets hurt, so they're always looking out for these kids and looking out for their riders. So it'll be a pleasure to get back involved.
It is your pleasure to have Cedar Lake on board with us.
And to point out one more thing, a lot of these kids that you guys are mentoring with these types of activities wouldn't probably in this day and age with the sparse property available for racing and that,
Yep,
you wouldn't even get those opportunities if these guys didn't promote something like
that's
this.
absolutely correct, sir. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's important, I mean, for the sport in general moving forward, you know, the next generations.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Moto on Ice fee of $500 per Sunday for the Cedar Lake Fire Department participation.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Randy and a second by Greg. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thanks
You
a lot,
bet.
fellas.
We'll work on the staffing and started the process already.
You got it, thanks, Tom.
So we do.
And Chief Todd, I should have asked the question prior to us voting, but your assumption is that those dollar amounts would go into your budget above and beyond the yearly budget due to the fact that you're paying people outside of what you have budgeted?
Right, it would have to come up, yeah, it would have to go into our budget to be able to afford it.
Okay,
We, if I might add.
yes.
The budget for the year is set, so whatever we receive, it'll
Mhm.
go into the general fund, but his line items will not increase unless I were to do an additional appropriation.
So that's something we could do then, additional appropriation
We'd have-
after the first of the
but-
year?
But note that additional appropriations have to go down to the state and be approved by the state before I can add any more money to their line item.
Okay,
So we will first look within his budget and see if there's any sort of further transfer resolution we can make.
okay.
I don't know which Sunday we begin, how soon this will start.
It's up to Mother Nature.
Well, they said we're gonna have 13 races this year, so.
Mr. President,
Yes.
December 29th, start.
this can
December
be,
29th.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
first race day, right, first Sunday of the season.
So
Yes,
then
Mr.
we should be able to make it work for
Okay.
the end of this year. going
Okay,
in.
yes, Mr.
this,
Usher.
this can work. We don't need to do it every week.
Yep.
It can be done one time, this additional appropriation procedure,
Okay,
and, handle it with one proceeding to the state and one
okay,
notice here and transfer. You're gonna have the cash in your accounts.
right.
They're not able to be spent until they're appropriated.
Got it.
And that's what happens here.
Okay, I just wanted to clear the record since we're bringing it
It'll
up.
be very, clerk treasurer's gonna get that done
Very good,
easily.
very good. Okay, very fine. Moving on, into reports. Town council.
I would
Bob.
like Randy to talk about, what somebody told me at a chamber meeting, that we were trying to take over the lake, and you said you were going to address it at this meeting.
Thanks, Bob. It was October 28th, was it, John, that we met with
Everblue.
with Speaker Bosma? And,
No, I think he's referring to.
no, he's talking about when we first spoke to Speaker Bosma in that meeting that you and I and Jill went to,
October 20th.
where we had put the question out there of Cedar Lake being a state-owned lake. Speaker Bosma seemed to think that, well, that shouldn't be a problem to have Cedar Lake basically be in charge of the lake. In a subsequent meeting that we had here where myself, John, and Ralph attended with Rick Niemeyer, Mike Aylesworth, the folks from Everblue Lakes, which is a company looking to help us clean the lake up, the IDNR said that even if this was a quote Cedar Lake-owned lake, the IDNR is still in control of management of it. So there's really no state-owned or local-owned lake. It's a management, and the lake is owned by, every public lake is property of the state of Indiana, managed by the DNR. That was what was explained to us. So there is really no ownership of a lake unless it's a private lake. But then it's still under the oversight of the DNR. So there was some confusion there between legislators and bureaucrats, Greg's favorite people.
Fond of them.
But I think that was kind of cleared up by the DNR in that second meeting. So I don't know if there's even an opportunity to do something like that, because it doesn't sound like that opportunity of ownership exists under the current statutes. So, but to give a little update on the meetings that were had, we've been looking at ways, it's been debated here for quite a while, on how to start this process of a lake project. The Army Corps project is a very large project with a huge price tag, and it's kind of older technology. It's driving a nail with a 50-pound sledgehammer. What Everblue Lakes does is more of a sustainable approach to it, utilizing microbiology and oxygenation through aeration technology that helps to bring life back to the lake. So, and it's a much lower cost. I mean, I calculated the life of it over a 20-year period as $6 million compared to $22 million of the Army Corps project that's currently on the books. So, and that's not even updating cost in the Army Corps side, but we're looking at something here that they have worked with the Army Corps in other parts of the country already, this company, and have had a successful relationship with them, because anything that goes on in Cedar Lake still needs to be checked off on by the Army Corps and the IDNR. So any kind of this technological and biological approach to cleaning up the lake will still have to be checked off on by the USACE and the state of Indiana. So we're pursuing these things as options. And, you know, part of the reason this debate's happened so late in this year is because up until the report was finalized in Washington, D.C., the Army Corps had a gag order on it. We couldn't talk about it.
It was
So
private.
it wasn't until several months ago that we were actually able to start talking about this in public on the financial side. So that's why you've seen such a debate here and some delays, and people get frustrated, but we haven't had the time to do any of our work because we can't do it in public, and we have to talk about all of our financial dealings in public here. So it was a matter of getting the opportunity, and now we're exploring all of our options, and things are starting to come together, and it's pretty encouraging. Thank
So
you
yeah,
for turning that over to me,
that's what
Bob.
that was, Bob, yeah.
You know the question I'm gonna ask now, right?
Yeah.
Everblue Lakes, are they gonna require a $1.7 million design engineering agreement, whether you do the project or not?
No.
We're working on that, to answer your question. But the,
There's
Design
an
agreement?
upfront cost to theirs of about, I can't remember the number, it was a little over $1 million of the upfront, but that's to install the actual equipment.
That's to get something started,
That's-
that's not for design.
Right, that's to actually
engineering,
start the project.
and
for
you
unfunded
may
About $1.6
recall, we're
million to
trying
start it.
to be responsible for the design. That's what the whole thing from day one was with the Army Corps.
And John's right, because part of the discussion in that meeting, and Kay was there as well, was if we are in control of the design with the Army Corps, this could be our design
Why couldn't
with
it?
Everblue Lakes. But right now, the Army Corps hasn't given us an option in the contract to control the design. They want to control the design, which would preclude the ability to use an option like this.
So we've had, it's been pretty good
So-
debates.
The negotiation now with the Army Corps and the conversation is going to shift more to, we want to be in control and in charge of the design if we're gonna pay for it. Because if we're gonna design a project, we're gonna design one that we can afford.
And it'll be sustainable,
Right.
we think, with this technology.
So that's kind of where we're at on the contract side of this with the Army Corps, is that language where they control the design or we do. We would rather have local control of the design, and which Senator Niemeyer and Mr. Aylesworth agree with, in order to manage the cost. Because if we're buying a design that's the Army Corps' design and we can't afford to implement it, we're still out the money.
You're out the money both ways, the $1.7 million and the 20, I mean, you're never gonna raise it.
But if we control the design process,
It might not be
that all
much.
goes towards the project that we want anyways.
Well, something that works is what we want.
Right, so
Yeah.
all the money will then go towards a project that you can actually implement rather than one that might get funded.
Well, even the one that might get funded, they would only guarantee it for 50 years, as I recall. It's a 50-year fix.
Right,
It's an
and
awful lot of
The
money.
alum
for
was only
50 years.
50 year, yeah. That's correct.
it was very good meetings, Bob,
It
that
was, yeah.
took place, really educational. There's some tremendous results of lakes very similar to ours that are hypertrophic lakes. Ours isn't at that top level, we're kind of in the middle as far as the blue-green algae. And the guy feels that his technology with our size lake would work absolutely perfect. They've done a lake up to 1400 acres in size.
1400, yeah.
So, almost twice the size of ours, and they've had success with it. They've had some failures in their time too, and he admitted their failures and some things that they've made mistakes on, so to me, it was good to hear from a business person, because their ability to stay in business, relies on their ability to come through with what they promise. So, it was very encouraging. There's good stuff out there. Bob,
you.
you have any reports? You turned your time over to me. I want to give it back to you.
No, the only thing I wanna wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Very nice.
John, I have an additional report.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Last week, I went to Jane Ball again and met with the brilliant fourth grade Lego Robotics Club. And they presented their final report to me, and it was absolutely terrific. Their work that they're doing on studying sidewalks and coverage in Cedar Lake. They educated me a lot on how many feet of sidewalks are currently in the town as compared to how many miles of road. And they also educated me on what's out there as it relates to holographic, share the road type approaches to sidewalks and crosswalks. I talked to the principal, Ryan Eckert, about bringing the kids into the December 3rd council meeting to present that report to us,
Oh, good.
because we do want to work on a project with them. I explained to them what Bob said about the Safe Routes to School money going from MacArthur to Hanover at the time of that project, and I explained that to the kids. And right away, they jumped in and started pointing at the map of where, on the east side, they need sidewalks for the MacArthur kids. And one kid said, "Oh, I used to attend MacArthur," and then it got into a big community discussion, and these kids are so energetic and enthusiastic and bright. I think we owe it to our community and to these young kids who've taken so much time to do some kind of project. I don't know the size or scope that we can do financially, but I think there's something we can do with them, with the technological knowledge that they've educated me on, as well as some regular concrete sidewalks. What a terrific group, and I think all of you will see that on December 3rd. John, if you could put them at the front of the agenda,
We could do it.
because it is a school night for them.
You bet.
But they're awesome kids, and all of you will love this report if you get a chance to come back. What a great group of kids, so I look forward to them coming to the December 3rd meeting.
Randy, I also met with that same group
Good.
last week. I believe you went on Thursday and I
Yep.
went on Friday. And their presentation was great, and the enthusiasm from the kids in that, and the time and the effort that they put into it is
Very
something
good.
else.
Anybody else? Okay, town attorney? Jen?
I am finishing up the draft of your 2020 salary ordinance. I anticipate it being, having it ready so you can have the first reading at your December 3rd meeting. I also anticipate having some budget reductions cut where we can this year, so we have a more favorable, we kind of went bare bones this year. I think we did pretty well, so I don't anticipate us having as many reductions as we have in past years.
Okay. Jill?
I have no report, we covered the items.
Okay. Was there any written communications in the documentation, Jill? I didn't.
Yeah, you have your, one, if I can bring it back, to your consent agenda, St. John event was part of that request letter was also a thank you for letting us use, or letting them use the picnic tables
Yeah.
for their Oktoberfest.
Okay.
In your written communications are your permits, new and alterations through the end of October, with 163 new home permits, with just under $29 million in value, and 447 alteration permits with just over $5.3 million in value.
Okay,
If I may roll into the Christopher Burke report.
please.
Ecosystem, you already covered some of those items where tables involved with the Everglue. On page 3 of his report, the community-wide bicycle and pedestrian master plan, Indiana State Department of Health. It is a grant opportunity. I was planning on working with Don on this. This grant would be to provide assistance in preparation of a community-wide bicycle and pedestrian master plan to facilitate more active living and higher rates of physical activity. One of the items you guys have discussed is getting a path around the lake, so developing that master plan would help with identifying those areas where we can have better
Okay.
Bless you.
multi-access. So that is one of the things we're working on. That's about it. Everything else is just updates on items going on in various boards and commissions.
Roundabout.
Chief Carl, did you want to make any statements regarding anything?
I can go over the,
Yeah, would you please?
for October, our calls for service.
Okay.
It is, assisting fire EMS 77, citizen incidents 147, juvenile incidents 19, nothing in homicide 67 ordinance, 78 persons, 32 in property, 363 traffic, and 5 that were not classified, and breakdown for so citations, 82 state, 7 town traffic, 24 ordinance violations, a total of 113. And warnings, 91 state, 21 town ordinance, 10, just regular ordinance, warnings for a total of 212. Breakdown of the arrest report, 24 arrests, 49 charges, 23 misdemeanor, 8 felonies, and 15 unfiled.
Very fine, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Carl? Chief-
I'd like to go back to Jill if she could report on the roundabout.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jill.
The roundabout, the work is continuing. They are working on finishing, Robert Henry is out there working on finishing up the relocation of a couple of the NIPSCO poles. Once those are in place, they will install the additional curb work, along the chamber there. Finish the grading and put that, last bit of asphalt in. We're still on schedule to open the beginning of December.
You can't get it open before Thanksgiving, huh? Before the,
I can't guarantee it.
can't they, why don't you ask them if they can get it open and then close a lane when they have to do some of the grading and that sort of thing?
Can't close the lane because it's a roundabout. Goes in a circle,
Yeah.
it's a single lane.
This is true.
So,
Thanks.
and that is one of the things we.
Well,
have
then we
discussed,
enact a
but
detour when they need to finish what they need to finish, but it seems to be
We're
a
having
waste.
some conversations on that, but being that we're a week and a half from Thanksgiving, we're trying to
Yeah.
get as much buttoned up. And I can't guarantee it, so I can't report that.
I mean, granted, the last week and a half has been a bit challenging, but it seems to me they should be able to do the detour that we presently have when they need to come do the,
Right, but
Necessary.
you're also, we're talking about confusion of traffic too, if we just open
You
it
bet.
up for a day and then
push out.
closing it again.
Call 'em in
just-
the
So
morning,
if it was
call 'em in the
something-
morning again.
We're trying.
I'm just happy to
I-
hear that we're still playing musical polls.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
is
this is how it
great.
started.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Chief Todd, welcome back. Glad to see you're recovering great. And do you want to add anything?
Yeah, we're at 1,322 calls for the day, we're just about to go on another one, so it'll be 1,323, 70% EMS, 30% fire.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Glad you changed the subject, because I was about to bite my tongue off.
Public comment. Do we have anybody that would like to get up and take the microphone, state your name and address for the record, sir?
My name is Richard Crabari, and I'm a resident. My address is 13940 Hobart Street. And I'd like to thank Bob and also Greg, you know, when I had an issue with trees falling into our property. You know, we're senior people, and that's why, you know, I wanna see us do better in the future, because we're looking at possibly moving from this area. We've been here about 20 years. I mean, there's no lighting. Our street's been patched 30 times probably since we've been here. Seems like every couple months it's patched. You know, nobody, you know, it should be done in a proper way at least one time, you know.
In your lifetime, anyway.
Huh?
In your lifetime.
In our
anyway.
lifetime.
Yeah.
But it's bad. I mean, really. I had people, I had somebody the other day, I had to chase them out of there. They were parked. You know, it's scary. We can't walk the dog. You can't do anything. Thank God I got enough of property in my backyard. We could walk around the backyard. But it's unsafe, you know, especially with all these new people coming in. You gotta have, you know, I'm an active member of Omni. In fact, I've been on TV for senior health, you know, and I believe in having some things for these people, but I just don't see it happening here. And that's why my wife's on my tail to, you know, move into Dyer or someplace else.
You bet.
I mean, I hate to move after 20 years, you know, and pack everything up and move, but we don't have any other alternative, you know? I
And,
mean,
you know, you bring up a good point that I haven't thought about much. I mean, since I've been here, it's always been about streets, infrastructure, drainage, and
Yeah.
those have been my pet peeves, but
yeah,
I know Bob has been here,
oh, yeah.
For a long
Since
time.
Every day.
and I remember,
And I'll tell you one thing, he's always out there.
oh, there's no
If a
question,
problem.
no question. I'm not
I'm not here
I'm about to ask Bob
wrap everybody or.
from his experience.
Yeah,
Utility, the streetlights used to be an issue because of the utility bill.
Right.
We're running out LEDs now, aren't we?
I don't know.
So the utility bill, there should be like a tremendous,
Savings.
has anybody
Should
looked
be.
at that?
yes, we have.
Can we add streetlights now because of the LED technology, or is it something that we just haven't looked at?
Our bill has to be a third of what it had been with incandescent or
yeah.
mercury vapor.
That's,
It's a
you
good
know,
point.
that's
I haven't thought
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that, I
No,
mean,
it's-
based on his
yeah.
comments, maybe it's time to think about it.
You're in
see
that
what
newer
we can add.
subdivision off of Hobart over here on the east side of the lake?
No, no.
Where's Hobart?
I'm on the east side, but it's an old.
He's in
section.
an old,
Oh, okay.
you live, to the, what do you live,
East of Morris.
Yeah,
east of
right,
Morris,
east of
and,
Morris, yeah.
and is it north or south of 141st?
Right. and
South of
there's-
140, north of 141st?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And there's an inhabited house there that,
Right.
you know, it needs to be knocked down. I mean, you know, if we really want this here village, especially with all these new homes and everything else, you know,
You bet.
there needs to be, like you said, a path, you know, where people could walk. See, we've kind of went from Cherville, we were over at Briar Ridge. And, you know, we had you know, I mean, you could get out and walk around, but my wife is stuck in the house all the
Yeah.
time. And I got a little Yorkie, and she'd like to get out there and walk around, but she can't because.
Yeah, Richard, you absolutely bring up great points.
Yeah.
There's only one way to properly do roads, and that's properly.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you've seen a lot of years of patching, but it needs to be done properly with, storm drains and place for water to go.
Yeah.
And in the event we're able to have easements, sidewalks, et cetera. So we appreciate your comments very much.
Okay, and it's just constructive, I appreciate you guys coming out. I didn't know what to do with that big tree that was on our fence, so you guys took care of it, cut it down and everything else. And I'm just thinking about the future of Cedar Lake. I'd like to see, some really improvements.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Richard.
you.
Thanks a bunch.
Anybody else want to make a comment?
Yes, I'm Brad Lambert with Summer Winds Commercial. This is in reference to first agenda item under ordinances.
Sure.
and Resolutions, ordinance number 1345. Does there need to be a second reading of that ordinance?
No,
No.
There doesn't?
no.
I was just advised that if there does, I was to request that there would be to suspend the rules and.
No.
Thank you.
Can't
We're
be
good.
clear on that.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Appreciate it very much, Brad. Anybody else? Please.
Hello, my name is Deborah Howe. I live at 13800 West 135th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
You bet.
A few months back, we were notified at a zoning board that there was a new business going to go in next door to us, and they wanted some changes in the ordinances. And after discussion, it was recommended, it was a favorable recommendation to be moved on, but there were conditions to that recommendation. It was approved by the town council. Work was done on that building without permits. I called and made an inquiry as to site plans and parking lot, which was reduced parking is what they requested. And as far as I know to date, it still hasn't been approved, but yet it's all paid, it's all striped, like they're ready to go. Who oversees this when you call and make a comment about, hey, I don't see the permit, there's work going on, and yet the work continues to go on, but where's the approval? Who does the oversight? I understand that.
In that instance, I can answer the question. I believe Randy and I actually had a discussion with Tim Kubiak, and he did the oversight. He shot the grade, and due to the circumstances, the pavement was laid. However, they do not have green tags for moving forward. I think that still had to go to the BZA. Jill, was it at the BZA the other night?
No, that's already
For
been
the-
approved through the BZA.
Okay.
It's going through the building department.
Okay.
Michelle has been in communications, as a matter of fact, with an engineer that is working on the site plan for the rest of the items that are to be addressed. That
Mhm.
site plan has not been received. There is no certificate of occupancy and any other further work barring just cleaning up the building.
So
John,
the
can I
site
jump
plan,
in?
It's not
does the
being
site
done
plan
yet.
come back to the building
The site
department or
plan will
come back to
back
the?
to the building department.
Okay, very good.
John,
The
can I
building
jump in
department
quick?
has
Please,
those
Randy.
items.
This is how, in the conversation that I had with Mr. Kubiak, he stated that the only work going on the interior was painting and cleanup. And he said that there would not be a building permit issued until the site plan was approved. That's what he told us.
Well,
I understand your concerns,
I
and
can tell you that, my husband was, in the yard while they were trimming up some of the shrubs and stuff, or the brush along the property line there. And, Bob had told my husband that the building lacked, major maintenance on items. So I can't imagine that a building of that age, and for as long as the previous owner was in there, that there is no plumbing work that needs to be done, that there's no electrical work that needs to be done. Granted, yeah, painting, it was a dark, dingy place, and stuff, he's opening a restaurant. But I can't imagine that handicap accessibility bathrooms were in there. I can't imagine that they didn't need additional permits to do the work in the building, let alone when I called, when they were paving, and made a comment, and then he said he was gonna shut them down, and then he went out and said, well, it's already done. It's like, how do you go and do work without getting the proper permits? You expect everybody else to follow And I'm just asking that, you know, if he was told what he needed to do, why wasn't, where's the process in getting them?
Mrs. Howe, do you have some of those public record things with you that were done in the BZA meeting and Plan Commission?
That's where I was gonna
Jill,
jump at.
Jill,
because
did
one
you
of-
pull some of that?
I did, I grabbed the wrong folder off my desk. If
Okay,
you want, I can go grab that.
I'd like that to be reviewed to make sure that the direction that was given by the BZA, by the Plan Commission, and by the council is being followed.
When
This-
we were at the meeting, originally, they were told, he brought in this very nice photograph of the building. I mean, he had it all on the outside, all updated and lighting, and it's like, hey, if you can make it look like that, that would be great. And everybody, Greg and David and I think Jerry, said, hey, you know what? You still need a site plan. And someone said, well, this is a site plan. And I said, no, there's no measurements, there's no dimensions on this.
Dave said it wasn't a site plan, and
Yeah.
he knows what a site plan is, and,
Yeah, but it was a very pretty picture,
yeah.
you know, and stuff, but it's like, they were instructed that they needed a site plan, and my understanding is you have to submit the site plan, you know, and get approval before you go ahead and do the work.
It was something along the lines of, they just wanna know if this is possible for them to do this, and the rest of that will be coming. That's the question that you're asking. All those things that were cited, where is it?
Jill, can you get that folder?
The site plan, and I just got an update from Michelle, is currently being done by an engineer. She has
Yeah.
had communications with the owner of Frank's Barbecue.
that-
Tim made it clear that until the site plan's brought in,
There'll be no,
they're not getting any approvals.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line.
that's what he told us.
But
But-
they actually did the work before they even had the permit. You
Well,
know,
he-
Tim went out there, when
yeah.
Tim went out there, he
Uh-huh.
told me that the permit hadn't been issued because Michelle and, Jill were both out of town,
Okay,
and it could be sitting on their desk,
okay,
you know, and he went in, and the original, I was told by, when I called a couple days later, I talked to Michelle, and she said the original, permit was for cleanup and occupancy. There was nothing on there about paving, there was no site plan, but yet they did the work.
right. And Tim did give him approval for that. Tim wears a lot of hats, and he made the call. And,
he
but
didn't
we
shut him
have to have a
down.
site plan.
But he didn't shut them down.
But he couldn't have shut them down. Once he gave him approval, they already had asphalt in the truck. They were on their way. Once you gave him approval, it's not like you can say, pick up the asphalt.
He did it
He
before.
did. He did that morning. He told Randy and I that he did.
He told us that, but was there ever a paper document of this approval?
I'm not
or
sure.
was
We'd
it,
have
hey,
to
go
wait.
ahead and
As I
pave it?
said,
Unfortunately, Tim's not here tonight,
I
so
know,
we can't
but
ask.
But I was told,
Yeah.
when the work was being done, I called, because I did not see the permit, and I couldn't.
Yeah, he
find
said he
anyone.
talked to you for 45 minutes.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
shortly thereafter, he told you what he was gonna do, and then you called everybody else. So that's what he,
No, he told me that he was gonna go in and check the paperwork, and
Uh-huh.
he was going to call me back and let me know what the permit was for.
I see.
Never followed up. I've called him, he never returns my phone call.
I have a question for you, if you don't mind answering, Debbie. So you did your building not too many years ago, your insurance building, it looks great. Did you also have all the proper permits for the bathroom, the sign, and the asphalt and everything?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I just was
They
asking.
did.
Okay.
In fact, Jenkins Builders
Uh-huh.
and, Tim was part of that. I mean, they did, you know, they put the entrance in. I spent $20,000
Yeah.
on a handicap ramp that we probably used 3 or 4 times, you know, in
Right,
15 years.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No.
I mean, Dave, I need a little help, because I've been a part of the planning here for 12 years, unsafe for a number of years. Saw a lot of BZA reviews over the years. And I remember, and this one just sticks out in my head, the King Building in Lincoln Plaza, there were some folks there that wanted to convert that to a restaurant. And our former town manager / town administrator / building commissioner / every other title that he could claim, created a scenario with the people downstate that they could not get their permit for a restaurant in that building based on whatever the state requires at a minimum for that building to be a restaurant. Am I right?
There are special regulations for the type of use, restaurant use, Mike, and so there are special permits from the building folks downstate.
So I sit here bewildered that that scenario happened in my tenure. I remember it very well. This building, though, seems to be like, it can be converted to a restaurant without any guidelines, any permits, any oversight.
I think 'cause he cooks it all outside, Greg, I swear,
that's
I
not
think,
the-
is that not right?
Permits that have to be get by the state of Indiana
That's
for
right.
any type of restaurant.
So what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, everything that she says is accurate. We sit here and defend it. We know it's not right. What the hell are we doing?
We're not defending anything. Tim Kubiak allowed them to do, he signed off on them doing the asphalt, Greg. And he does it, thank you very much, Mrs. Howe. He does not have a site plan. There's no approvals that have been given. I believe that's still in the process.
Okay, 1 second. I have a public record here. Town of Cedar Lake, there's been a building permit application for paving and interior cleanup that was, the permit was approved for those two things. Looking back through here, they've submitted some drawings that they said were their site plan that have not been approved because they're not a site plan.
So that's,
Commenting on what you were saying, I talked to Tim about a state design release as well as what Todd commented on. Tim said that that will not need a state design release because they'll be doing all their cooking in the smoker. That's what he told us.
Have we,
So other
have
sites
have we
that-
checked with the state on that?
That's very possible, as long as they don't use any type of deep fryers, don't have a hood system. That is very possible.
So here's a public record from the BZA. The Board of Zoning Appeals has certified a favorable recommendation for requested use variance with set conditions. Mr. Carnahan asked the petitioner how they will address the drainage issue. Petitioner will do everything they can to alleviate the problem. Mr. Parker again raised the question of a site plan submission. This was actually from town council minutes. Mr. Kubiak explained this item is for use variance. Permitting will dictate what conditions are to be met and if a site plan is necessary. Mr. Parker asked if Mr. Austin concurred. Mr. Austin replied he had an entirely different concept of planning and use variances. Discussion followed on possible lack of communication with petitioners, confusion, and interpretations of processes. Mr. Austin discussed requirements, code, and laws for variances. A motion to approve the use variance based on BZA recommended conditions, subtracting hours of operation, including repairs or replacement of compromised culverts, was made by Randy Niemeyer, second by Julie Rivera, with a roll call vote of 7-0. So that kind of echoed the conditions that were set by the BZA in that discussion.
Those culverts went in without any permits and the asphalt went in without any.
From what I understand, the culverts don't need permits along the state highway.
Actually, I've talked to the state extensively, and if they would have known the scope of the work, he would have used it. He basically called and said, oh, we need to replace a culvert.
What's more than that, though?
He didn't indicate that it was the whole frontage of the property.
but now you have a front yard that drains, Mrs. Howe. You came to the town council meeting, asked for new culverts, the person put them in, and now you have a yard that drains, so they're in. Tim shot grade,
Did
they're
Don
proper,
Oliphant sign off on this?
they're proper grade. I don't know, Greg, I
Well,
don't know.
Before you can say that, shouldn't you know that?
Tim told Randy and I he shot grade on the culvert, and he shot grade on the
He did.
asphalt.
He did tell me he
That's what he
shot
told me.
grade and
Tim
stuff, but
did.
I still have
Tim
an issue
did.
with,
Tim,
I still have water that sits in my drain because there's a section of property before you get to the culverts that they let overgrow. So if you get any garbage from flying around, from,
I see.
people dumping, it gets caught and the water drains slowly. And the other part, and I've had a problem with the state, and the state basically blown me off because they said, well, it's done. They don't wanna come back. They said they've got 3 people for 13 counties and they don't wanna deal with it.
I see.
But on the end, on the south end, the end that butts up against my property, instead of pulling the old culvert because of the fact that they did a gas line, there was a gas line there and they didn't, so they sistered in. So there's 2 culverts side by side. One doesn't work, the other one does, but it's not in line with the other one. So they put another culvert in behind it. And so basically the water has to stay through there.
I see.
you know.
I don't,
And-
I can't remember another project that we allowed, since I've been here,
Well,
that kind of stuff to go
My problem
on.
with the state was too, is that over years,
Mhm.
work has been done on that property where you can see where the old entrances were. They were concrete ends with a culvert in between, an open ditch and another one. Over the years, they've filled it all in with coke, you know, so it really wasn't even permitted from the start, but the state tells me they don't have records that go back that far.
Got it.
So basically, they said, well, the work is done, there's nothing, because I started before they even started, when I seen the culverts there, I called the state to find out about a permit.
Mhm.
And it took me a week and a half to have someone get back to me, and by then, the work was almost done.
Mr.
You know,
President?
so-
Yes, ready.
May I interrupt?
Please.
Mrs. Howe, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I wanted to continue with the public record. The Board of Zoning Appeals favorable recommendation had the following contingencies, that 2 outdoor entertainment events per month in accordance with town noise ordinance regulations, maximum of 21 picnic tables, minimum of 20 parking spaces. The hours of operation shall be Wednesday through Sunday, which was changed in my motion. Significant storm water issues to be addressed as required by town engineering, and then the comments in the public record by Dave about the difference in opinion of whether or not a site plan was needed. Our attorney believes a site plan is needed, which is what we act upon, and from what Tim told us, that there would be no occupancy awarded, or additional permits other than the paving and cleanup that was issued without a site plan. So what's going on inside there, I don't know, you know better than I do, you're right there.
Hey, you know, we used to go in there and rent items every now and then because we had water in our basement because of the drainage issue, when I corrected.
Thank you, Jill.
We used to have to go in there and rent a pump and rent a fan, and basically it was a rundown old building, you know. and
Yeah.
I can't imagine of just slapping some paint on it, it's gonna make it work any better, you know.
And you may
We
be
had
right.
plumbing,
You may be
we
right.
had electrical, I mean, you know, we ended up having a tenant in there that there was a finished basement because it was a home.
Mhm.
And the tenant didn't tell us the basement was flooded. And by the time she moved out and told us about it, we had 3 foot of water down there and
Yeah.
it ruined everything. We had to gut it. We had to get permits for all of that stuff,
I see.
you know? So I know that there's a permit process and stuff is outdated. I can't imagine that a restaurant going in there doesn't need upgrades.
It used to be town hall. Town hall used to meet
Is that right?
there,
I get that, but
and
it's
it
still.
used to be a pizza
It's-
place.
It's
Wow.
old. I can't imagine
Yeah.
that the infrastructure in there
Uncle
is
Don told me about it when it was
upgraded
a
enough
pizza place.
for a restaurant to be going in there. I think.
No, but, yeah, and we appreciate your comments and believe,
I love the idea that he's going in
Yeah.
there, but I just want the rules to be followed, and who enforces them? You tell them what needs to be done, and.
our
then-
town administrator and our building department are in charge.
Well, I think
On a
in this-
day-to-day,
I'm not a big fan of
running
our
of the
town
business.
administrator getting her nose in the building department, because I think sometimes that can be counterproductive, as Greg cited with our former town manager always kind of being involved in all that stuff. But I think in this case, since there was such a specific public record made, that some monitoring, not involvement, but monitoring by your office would be warranted here to make sure that the public record, the desire of the BZA, which are representatives of the public, as well as the town council, are adhered to by our building department. I think it's really that simple, to make sure that we've got people keeping their eye on it. If we got a report from a citizen that there's work going on without a
Yeah.
permit, it needs to be investigated, needs to be reported on. Simple things need to be done.
The owner of this building
Fact.
doesn't ever finish, he has not finished one project.
And I feel bad for Rob and Patty too. They're
I do
neighbors,
too.
they're neighbors of mine, they're good business
You know
people.
what? I love the
terrific
idea that
people.
they're going in there. I just need them to follow the process that everyone else needs to follow, you know,
We-
and accountability, you know.
And I don't think it's as much on them as it is the owner of the property for not,
I agree on that.
following through on
But I
these
also think
things.
that because businesses are coming and going and you guys don't know, I really think the town should adopt an ordinance for business licenses, so you guys know what's in town.
Very
You can
interesting.
sort of-
Yeah, very, very
You know,
we've
interesting.
kicked that around a few times.
That's right.
It's had a lot of debate.
It's a lot of debate on that subject. So, Mrs. Howe, thank you very much. It was very nice to hear. Jill, thank you for bringing up all the public record, et cetera.
Did you get an answer to anything that?
Sir,
Do you feel like you got an answer?
Well, the direction that I gave Mrs. Howe, I'm sorry, Ken, was for a little more close monitoring on the public record and direction that was given. Because it sounds to me like the big problem is you're seeing things happen, you're reporting them, and nobody's doing anything about it. That's the bottom line.
So,
Well, even with the state, I'm sorry, even with the state, you know, when I told them that the water's being impeded, you know, they told me, well, you know, you can't force, like I said, I clean my ditch line, I go pick up the garbage, I mow the ditch, you know, so the water flows, and they said, well, you really don't have to, that's up to the state. I said, so, if I leave it alone and if the water's being impeded, they said, well, call us. I said, okay, I'll call you the next time the weeds are up there and there's garbage in the ditch so you can come.
Greg and I just
Thank
talked
you.
about this. It's the old Ronald Reagan adage, we're from the government, we're here to help,
Yeah.
are the scariest words that you can hear. Yeah.
Hey, Dave, I got
That's
one more
good.
question before we get totally off this. Don't we have jurisdiction over that drainage some because it's in the town of Cedar Lake proper?
You do through your stormwater utility, your stormwater management.
So why would we just
They are
go by
priority.
what
No, they're-
the
they
state
are
blowing
priority.
it off?
They're preemptive.
But I think that's kinda like, the lake, the state controls that.
State
I understand that the state controls it, Bob, but just like Wicker Meadows, if somebody causes a flooding problem and there's no oversight from the powers that be in this community,
I think you're right
the
on, Greg.
taxpayers wind up fixing the problem.
Because at a stormwater meeting, if they recognize that as a problem and sent a letter from the Cedar Lake Stormwater Board to the state, maybe there'd be action. You know, maybe that's something that could be done, is where the local body sends some communication and says, hey, we've got a problem.
We've already done that with Don Oliphant has communicated with the, NDOT and, with all that. And we got them to come out and clean. Harrio's, drain was full to the top, and we did get them to come out and, clean some of that out. But they've got so much area to cover, it's hard to keep them
Well,
up there.
But the problem is too, is that the state told me that it's blocked all the way basically from the liquor store, you know, to our property. It's not flowing properly, and then once you get past, Midway's old property, that next property, it's totally clogged there too, because I don't know who owns it, it's just like a.
well, the
big
good thing is, we're
mess.
putting a 5-lane highway in a few years, is what the
Well,
rumor is.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll put new ditches everywhere.
And that was why, Eric and Bob didn't wanna do any work on that
Right.
culvert, because they wanted to wait for the state.
Right, we told them
I
they'd
can't
have to.
wait.
Yep.
I know.
So thank you. Sorry, Pastor Ken.
That's all right. Ken Buan, 13641 North Street. After 5 years and several painful rearrangements and adjustments, and after all of the community support and effort and thousands of dollars raised, we are dedicating the Project Love Food Pantry Thursday night
Wow.
at 7 p.m.
Great.
And I want to extend a personal invitation to each of you to please come and celebrate with us. We're gonna have an open house ribbon cutting ceremony the following Saturday, the 23rd, at 3 o'clock. And if you can't make one, make the other. If you can make both, terrific. But thank you for all of the community support, and we're very excited about our future.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pastor Ken, that's
That's-
great news. What an uplifting thing. I mean, awesome work by you and the team there.
Mission
And,
accomplished, yeah.
Great help.
Yeah, difference makers. Yep.
Bob, good job. That's
And
Bob's
just
church.
one of many.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Public comment is closed. Okay, 8:25, adjournment. Thank you.
We have a utility board meeting after a short recess.
Oh, my knees, Julie. I drive too